ASSA 600 with barrels. There's the bitting. You can see one barely needs a touch. The other thing to notice is the step between 1 and 2 and between 3 and 4 are pretty substantial. That has led me to change my pick choice. I had originally started with a fairly shallow hook and switched to a deeper one because I kept oversetting 1 and 3 when I was working on 2 and 4. So I switched, and that seems to have taken care of it pretty well. Sometimes on this lock I overset right off the bat, which is a bummer. So I'm trying not to do that. I first picked this yesterday and got it on video and moved some things out of frame. So, trying not to do that this time around. Change my filming setup a little bit. I have a pretty zoomed in for the pick, and then I'm working on choreographing the changes to the gut in preparation for doing more gins and such, where the orientation of the pins when they come out needs to be clearly shown. So even though it's not strictly required for barrels, I'm trying to be a good boy and establish good habits. This hobby tends to show you clearly when you've developed bad habits, which I guess I should talk about while I'm testing these. Well, first I'll tell you what I'm doing. So now that I think, set all the barrels up into the milling, I'm going through and just testing each pin. If it feels like it's binding, I move it up, try to move it up a click. If it doesn't feel like it's binding, then I move on. By binding, I mean if I pulse on the pick a little bit and I can feel it up here in my thumb, then I try and move it a click. If I pulse on it and I don't feel it in my thumb, then I move on. And that seems like it's doing well for me. With that said, I'm by no means an experienced barrel picker yet. So, if you try that and it doesn't work well for you, don't worry, you're not discarding expert advice. By any means. I have somewhere along my development picked up a bad habit of, when I feel stalled on a lock, I'll start feathering tension a little bit, which on barrels means that you drop everything. So that's one bad habit that picking this lock has helped me at least be aware of. I'm trying very hard not to do that as I pick right now. I'm just kind of playing around with the pressure that I'm putting on the pin. Try and ooch it up, and it's, I think, not gonna go, at least for right now. Two, nothing really. 4, 5, and 6 are where most of the action is on this lock. There we go, a little bit of core movement with that. Push of 6. And a tiny bit with 4 there. 6 feels solid. 5. Can't quite tell, but I got a click. 4. Really feels like it's the binder right now. So some of these clicks are the pick. This is a 15 thousandths pick because I don't have a 19 with this profile. And so some of these noises are the pick sliding up beside the pin, especially when I'm trying to come at it from different angles and move it sideways a little bit. It'll slip, and so that's what some of those clicks are. Others are actually the pin moving through the milling, and those are obviously the ones I'm more excited about. I feel like I'm getting very close. And usually the last one binds fairly tight, and then it feels like magic when it opens. 2 right now. Nope, that was warding. And I just dropped, oh man, I think I just dropped everything. If not everything, it was most. No, I guess not. 6 still feels alright, so that's nice. Didn't go back to 0, I just went back to like 0.5 or something. And I just did it again. Curses. Ooh, a little bit of core movement there. That's exciting. And that was off of 2. set 1. There we go. So that's kind of a milestone in this lock. One usually means I'm about halfway there. And before you get too upset that we're 10 minutes in and we're halfway there, a couple minutes ago I dropped everything recalled, so we're kind of starting over, or we did start over. Hopefully I don't drag you through another 10 minutes of me fooling around and doing dumb stuff and dropping the pins again. Hopefully. Usually when I'm having a hard time figuring out which pin is binding, we are right near the open. So I'm hoping that's where we are now. I think it's 5. I'm just going to go through and try the others, hopefully very gently. 2 is the other prime suspect, but I don't feel like it was, so. Yeah, we're on 5. Maybe it's 4. Okay, moved a little bit on 4. So I'm just bouncing back and forth between 4, 5, and 6. There we go. All right. Now, in the interest of not screwing it up by taking things off frame again, I've changed how I do my gutting. Readjust my camera. Okay. I've got the original short barrels here. As I said, I'll bring those in later and show how 4 and 5 caused a problem before. But for now, I'll try and get this thing without pulling it out of frame. As much as I like this lock, and I do actually really like it, I will be happy to move on to another lock for a while. I do have an ASSA 700 for black belt, so I'll come back to its cousin, if not it itself. Usually I'm a die-hard shim person. With this lock, I have gutted it enough times that I don't feel a need for them. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now, one, two, three, four, 5, 6. And while I've got it right here, I might as well show the milling. Now for, hold on. Let me plug this back in. See if this helps any. It might or might not. Alright. Barrel 1. And I'm going to do all the springs at the end. these springs don't extend into the chamber or into the out of the Bibles very much, if at all. So and my tweezers, despite my best efforts, are not entirely demagnetized yet. They are much less magnetized than they were, but as you can see, the prong that's up right now is a tiny bit magnetized, and I've banged it against the vise so many times and put it through a demagnetizer, and I'm doing something wrong. I'm sure of it. I'm about ready to go to brass or plastic ones. All right. I don't really know what there is to show here, but there's my purple nail polish. That's how I mark my locks for belts. Except the ones from Decoder, which are laser etched. Alright, so there's the barrels. And what I'd like to show you, we set these aside. Actually, I'll set them into this tray. Oh, bother. Alright, so this is how the lock came pinned from the factory. And you'll see all those barrels are the same length. And what happened is I pinned up just 4 and 5. Did I? Yes, I did. pinned up. Now, when I've gone to demonstrate this before, sometimes it demonstrates just like it happened, and sometimes which specific pin I choose matters. So we'll see if this is one of those times. So you hear the click. Oh, this is one of the make a liar of me times. No, that should be good. Okay. Well, let's see. Oh. Okay. Glad that didn't happen in the actual gutting. Let's see. How are my eyes today? My eyes are all right today. Okay. Let's have a look. So what I was trying to show you, really tricky like, is this. That 4 and 5 with the key pin will sit right close to shear. Okay, so 5 is right. Let's see if this is there's a flat side and a rounder side. That may make a bit of difference. That's a little rougher than I'd want to not force it in. Actually, I can show you just with 5 though. So dumped out 4 and the spring for 4. Yeah. So we've got the key pin in 5. Actually, let me show that properly. Okay. So we've got the key pin in 5. We got the spring in 5. And the driver. And what we're going to do is load it up. Here we click. And there you go. So actually 4 and 5 worked like that. One of these drivers will sit right on top of 4. Actually, that might be it. There. And spin. And that is why balanced pin stacks are important. Sorry for the couple misfirings trying to show you that, but the upshot is currently you'll see just springs come out of here, and then driver and key pins out of the plug. So once again, thank you, Adam, for sending me proper pins. I learned something, which is always a great side effect of a good sport. And hopefully this and the medical biaxial will count for my purple belt. Y'all have fun.